Thanks for joining us for another edition of Communication Steroids, the weekly podcast that shows you how to become a better public speaker, a more effective presenter, and a conscious and clear communicator. This is where you can find tips, tools, and techniques that you can put to use today. Here are your hosts of Communication Steroids, Tim Gonzo Gordon and Roger Pike.
Hey, thanks for joining us for another podcast from Communication Steroids. I'm Tim Gordon.
And I'm Roger Pike.
Over there on my left, as you can tell by the camera.
People can actually see us this time.
Well, it's weird.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
Well, the way the web's going, you have to be visible, I think.
You almost certainly do.
Yeah, so if you look at the blue light up there, which is why is it blue?
Well, because it isn't red.
Well, it should be red.
It's not red, it's not green, which makes it, yellow or blue, and in this case it's blue.
Anyway, we're sitting here in the Gonzo Deck's basement studios in Salem, Oregon, and it's time for another podcast from Communication Steroids. And this is, sort of an experiment with the video. But if it looks good, and by the way, this camera is actually really cool.
Well, you told me that you'd gotten this new camera and that it was high definition. And
got recommended to us by our good friend Tony Marino, and he got one. And I beat the price by $25, so I feel really good about that.
You are a deal shopper.
Well, he got it in town at like a Best Buy or a Office Max or something, and I found it on Amazon for $25 less. But it's high def, it's HD, and so we'll see what it turns out to be like on YouTube if it makes it there. We'll do a little production and that sort of thing. But yeah, you can sort of see us if you check it out on YouTube. If not, you still have the audio. I
do want to talk to our viewer listeners just a bit and let them know why my eyes look like slits. It is allergy season in Oregon, and I'm tearing up pretty good. But I'm happy to be here.
But you got the Duck hat on there. They've had a couple
of
good weeks.
I do have the University of Oregon hat on. I've been a Duck fan for many, many years. My daughter is a student there, so
yeah, go Ducks. Exactly.
Go Ducks.
So show that to the camera. We'll take a break and we'll be right back after this word. But go ahead and show that.
Oh, show the book.
Yeah, I mean you have a camera. You can actually show this.
There we go. Got to get the light right on it.
15 minutes, including Q&A by Joey Asher. What's the subtitle there?
The subtitle is "A Plan to Save the World from Lousy Presentations."
And we'll get to that in just a moment.
You can now hear our show on Stitcher Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your iPhone, Android phone, BlackBerry, and Pre, on demand and on the go. Don't have Stitcher? Download it for free today at Stitcher.com.
So I'll tell you, the book came in my mail last week, and I read through half of it in about 30 minutes. It's just really, it's a really thin book.
Real thin book, you can see.
How many pages in it? What, 50?
I don't know. Let me look. How long is the book? 90, 104, 105.
Okay.
105 pages long. And the 105th page is about the author. So 104 pages long.
So his thesis really is you can do a corporate speech or a presentation in 15 minutes, and half of that could be Q&A.
And not suck. That's the main thing.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
And I think he's on a mission to get rid of bad speeches and bad presentations that go on and on and on, and people are saying they're bored, they're checking their BlackBerry, they're playing on their iPhone, so that's the whole point. And it's actually an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think it is too. And it's very important that that people understand that quantity is not necessarily quality, and you can in fact blow a presentation by carrying things on too long.
It's true. Look at some of the chapters in it. If you want to pull that open,
I do.
As some of the contents, I'm curious to see what he's talking about.
Well, the first chapter is a plan for a 7-minute presentation, and I'm sure that's just his general thesis. What a 7-minute presentation sounds like. Start by focusing on the key business challenge. Now, there's the first bit of solid advice that he gives. He wants his listeners, I think, or his viewers, his readers, to ask themselves, what is it that this business really needs? What is the main problem that they're facing that you can solve with your product? Focus on the key business challenge.
And chapter 4, which I think where the card is, you can go take a quick look there. Is something we echo all the time. If you listen to our podcast
at all,
if you've seen us in person, if you've got our emails, have 3 ideas, 3 messages, and that's it.
Yeah, he says focus your presentation on three key messages, and we call it the magic.
Magic 3.
Magic
tripod.
Rule 3.
Yes, because it's stable and it's not too much.
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is, if you only have 2 ideas, people think that you're a lightweight. If you have 4 ideas, they don't remember the last 2.
Yeah, and they get confused by trying to remember too many things. 3 ideas
is it.
are very easy to remember.
Right, and it's arbitrary, I know.
But it works.
But it works.
And,
it always
and
has.
if a guy like this, who's actually got a book out and is professing the same thing that we've been telling you for years, hey,
we must be right.
And he must be right too.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else is the contents? I'm curious.
Well, focus your presentation on 3 key messages. We already talked about filling out your 3 key messages. You know what it takes to let people understand what it is you're talking about.
Whether it's a factoid or some sort of anecdote that helps support one of your 3 key messages, some sort of subpoints. But yeah, they're all relate to that one area, which is one of the 3 messages.
And then his 6th chapter is once again something that we've talked about for you all the time, and that is close by recapping your 3 key points. Now remember what we told you. Your introduction. In your introduction, you should tell people what you're going to tell them.
Yes.
In your body, you should tell them, and in your conclusion, you should
tell them what you told them.
Tell them what you told them.
It's such a trite thing, but it works. It's a good formula. No wonder people tell you to do this, because it's a workable formula.
It's the way things are, the way things ought to be, the way things always will be. That's what you should do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple. Then end by asking for something. We call it a little different.
We say have a call to action at the end, whether it's someone to buy into your train of thinking, or to actually take an action, go home and do something, or to pony up some money if it's some sort of speech you're trying to raise money. Whatever the call to action is, you've got to have it there, and you've got to have it strong, and you've got to have it right at the end of the speech, right before you walk off the stage.
When we do trainings, we will oftentimes give people things that they can do in the long term. We talk about the things that you should practice so that you can come back next week and do. But we also give people things that they can go back to their desk right now and do right now. And those are the things that actually improve people's skills.
It's true. I mean, we do a presentation called How to Improve Your Public Speaking Overnight. And that's one of the things we do is what do you do right now? What can you do the next time you get up? Whether you are planning a speech in the next month or not, what can you do when you go back to your desk that will make you a better speaker the next time you get up to speak? There are things
exactly,
you can do.
and you know, and we give people examples like you can start a story file. You can start an idea file when you go right back to your desk. You can do it right now.
Yeah, and he has actually some good points here on keys to telling a good story. Just a couple of examples. Start with the point. You don't want people wondering why you're telling them a story. Tell the story chronologically. Makes sense. It's hard to follow if you don't do it. Keep it tight, but give some details. The art of telling a story is finding the right balance between the number of details and the length of the story. And he actually has a recommendation. Remember that you have only 7 minutes total, so your story probably won't be longer than 30 to 60 seconds, which if you follow his 15 minutes including Q&A, you know.
Well, remember what we've told people over and over and over again. You can give dry statistics, but dry statistics don't sell. Putting a face on things sells. It's why presidents, when they give their State of the Union address, has so many people in the audience that they point to.
Yes.
So that they can put a face on their message. That's what people relate to. That's what they respond to. Not necessarily the dry statistics. And that's what a story gives you. In my most recent presentation with regards to the importance of the social media, I tell the story about how I bought my last camera, which was all through the social media.
Yeah.
So it's just vital.
He talks about the magic of Q&A. He calls Q&A as presentation duct tape, as it fixes everything, because if you get good at it, first of all, it helps you get better, helps you become more engaging with your audience.
Right.
And it helps them, takes the spotlight off of you, puts that on various people in the audience, which I think is a very good thing. And then there's some give and take there. And if it's done correctly, it can be very engaging, and keep it short, but still make room for it.
Well, there's something that I want to let people know that we always advise people to do if they have a Q&A that may or may not be in this book.
Right.
I haven't read that section, but if they don't, if it isn't in the book, it's something that you ought to remember, and that is when you have a Q&A, be sure and prepare 2 closings. The first closing that you give at the end of your speech, and the second closing that you give at the end of your Q&A. You don't want things to just peter out.
Right.
You want to have just as powerful a call to action, just as powerful a closing message after your Q&A as you do after your main presentation.
All right, we'll wrap it up. The book is 15 minutes. Get the light off of there, including Q&A. I'll plan to save the world from lousy presentations.
Put it right in front of my face so nobody can see me.
Fun little book. Well, you know, I'm trying to figure out where that camera is and what the heck's going on with it.
Yeah,
this is brand new.
That's perfect.
Anyway,
that just works just fine.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the podcast from Communication Steroids. And no break here at the end. We'll just wrap it up. And,
that's just.
I'm Tim Gordon. Over
and
there,
I'm
Roger Pike, and sayonara from the Gonzo Deck Studios.